Beautiful. Gorgeous. You look marvelous. Says we're live. I'm going to check. I'm going to check Rumble. And stop. Why is Rumble not playing nice? And Rumble's not going to play.
I like the background, Fig.
It's awesome. Can you see the... Hold on a second. Let me move it. You recognize that?
Uh-huh.
The other one's sitting over here waiting for somebody to build a frame. And
that's you. Or maybe Isabel can do it.
No, I'm going to have to do it. I got some cool oak wood. I'm going to do it out of. The real question is, what's coming down for that to go up? Because there's a lot of shit on there.
Yeah.
There's some stuff that needs to come down. Yeah.
Okay. I'm checking Facebook. For some reason, it says there are 4 people waiting on Rumble, not watching.
Okay.
Guys, I'm going to have to mute and take this. My mom's 97. She's just called for the 3rd time. So you guys chat amongst yourselves.
Okay.
And I will be right back.
I'll prep him. I'll prep the doc. All right. So do you have any pre-planned things you want to talk about, sir?
I emailed you some stuff, but I just have maybe a few little things. I'm just going to go over, what I did to get to be a flight surgeon, I guess.
Yeah. Well, that's was one of the things I was going to ask anyway.
I spent, everyone's supposed to go into officer indoctrination school if you get a scholarship before you become an officer. I didn't. So I spent one evening with with someone, and he told me all about how to be an officer. Yeah.
It was a one evening crash course.
And I'll tell you what that's all about, how I fared with that, but not much, just some of the airframes that I flew and what are my favorite ones and which one I was scared out of my wits. But
you got to hover. That's cool.
Yeah, I got to hover. He gave me the stick for about 15 seconds.
That's awesome. Which one of these, I'm looking at your email, which one of these scared you?
It was a CH-53. It was a night vision goggle sortie.
Yeah,
that scared me too. Just hearing that, I'm sweating.
I know. It makes my palms sweat. And you were sitting in the back, so you couldn't.
I was in the back. All I could see was this rectangular window of green, and everything. And if you turn your night vision goggles off, it was completely pitch black. Couldn't see anything.
Oh yeah, you were certain it was about to end.
Bumping and hitting the ground, and no clue what to do. They didn't even let me get up and look out.
That's bullshit.
Right.
Everything okay?
Everything okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm getting there. The problem is Mom called me on the phone, and it's the same phone I use for my camera. So I'm back. I am back. All right. So you've gone over pretty much everything, it looks like. Let's see. All right, Chase is on. Here we go. Nice to see you tonight, Chase. It looks like you're on Facebook. Chase, I got a favor to ask of you. Thanks for your nice email, by the way. Oh, we do have, never mind. The favor is no longer needed. There are 12 watching on Rumble. And it looked like before that Rumble was not getting out. It looked like people were waiting, not watching. So
sweet. Okay.
So we're live. Everybody can see and hear all this good stuff. Did you go over the intro routine and all that?
Actually, we didn't get to it.
Okay. Well,
I'm back good.
Yeah.
He's a listener.
He's a listener. All right.
He gets it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, thanks, great.
There you go. So as it fades, jump right on in there. If you got a story that you want to hit us with, fine. If you want to say just so there I was, that's fine.
No, I'm only going to do part of a sentence. Then you guys can come right in.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Right. Then why don't I pick it up and then you introduce him, Fig?
Okay.
All right. And then, all right, we'll go from there. Here we go. I need to do
quiet.
Yeah,
We're
getting there.
broadcasting.
That's it.
Quiet, numbskulls. We're
we go.
broadcasting.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
This here is a true story about crossing the pond at night in the world's smallest cockpit, on the tanker, through the weather. Oh, and to the tanker crew who did that, thanks a lot. We really appreciated that. I'm just kidding. No, I'm not. Well, there I was, crossing the pond, and you could see that I wasn't exactly fond.
So there I was at the medical clinic at Marine Corps Air Station, Yuma, Arizona, giving my XO a 2-fingered prostate exam.
2 fingers.
While they were singing Moon River.
Oh, I clinched. I clinched when you said that.
I bet he doesn't send him flowers or call or anything anymore. And that's how
Not even.
all great aviation tales begin.
I don't know if
Evening,
that's an
everybody.
aviation
Repeat here, coming to you from New Hampshire for another week or so anyway. I'm here with my co-host, Fig, who had a special day out yesterday with our guests, I understand.
Well, yeah, as a matter of fact, we live fairly close to each other as far as that goes, and we were at the air show here in Kansas City, Blue Angel Air Show together. Spent most of the day sweating profusely, but yes, and so welcome, Doc. It's
Thank you.
good
Thank you.
to have you. We've been threatening to have him on for months, and he's been kind of wishy-washy with me, and he didn't back down today.
Well, yeah, I'll tell you, I've only spent maybe 2.5 years in the aviation community. So I don't have all these stories that some of your, heroes have been telling you. So
yeah. However, you do have stories, and everybody has good stories.
There you go. Signed up, jumped in. The good news is tonight we're going to do a little more than break even, which is how we generally feel about going to see the flight quack, right, Fig? The best you can do is break even.
That's right. This is unique in more than one way. We've never had a flight surgeon on. We've had, with the exception of the
Got a couple Rios, a drill instructor.
The gunny drill instructor.
Yeah.
It's all been aviators. So this is just this is unique. And what's really awesome about this is you were a flight surgeon in a Marine Harrier Squadron.
That's right. The
and
Black Sheep.
And not just any squadron, a historical one, right?
Yeah.
Not as historical as the Great American Bulldogs of VMA 223, but pretty close.
Right. So how'd you get there?
Yeah. So how's a guy, how's a good-looking medical student guy decide he's going to go in the Navy and be a flight surgeon? How does that look?
Well, I'll tell you, I had no interest in aviation at all, to tell you the truth. I was, dead set on becoming a doctor, from maybe the age of 10 or something.
Okay.
Wow.
And,
okay. That's
so
impressive.
Went to, got into med school, Creighton University. And after my second year, I started running out of money.
Weird.
So,
that's weird, right?
Yeah, I started running out of money. So I had to figure out what to do. So instead of getting loans, I got the Navy, the Health Profession Scholarship. And so what they do there is they will go ahead and they'll pay for your medical school, my last 2 years, and they'll pay for like books, and they'll give you a little stipend. And then if you do those years, then you owe them some money, some time back, not money, but time back. Yeah. So I got that scholarship, did my 2 years of med school. And then that's when I jumped into active duty after med school.
So you had a choice though, I'm assuming, into what part of the Navy and what kind of medical field you were going to go into. How does that work?
Well, really, in med school, all the med students have a match. They apply to different residencies and such. In the military, there's maybe 5 or 6 of us guys that had this health profession scholarship. We put our wish list in of which hospital we wanted to go to. There's Balboa in San Diego, there's Portsmouth Naval Hospital, and there's 1 or 2. There's one in Texas or something. It's close to Fort Sam. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But there's some residencies. So you just wait. And at that time, I was very, big into internal medicine. So I wanted to, do all the numbers and help people out that way. So they said, okay, you got, Bethesda too, Bethesda.
All right.
So I got Portsmouth Naval Hospital. And they said, okay, that's what you have. So they gave me orders to Portsmouth Naval Hospital. And, the funny thing is during my years as a med student, after I got my scholarship, there had to be a time where I had to take 6 weeks off sometime, and I had to go to officer indoctrination school.
It was 6 weeks.
Oh,
Okay.
6 weeks where they teach you how to be an officer. Yeah. They teach you about military history, how to march, saluting, everything. They teach you everything.
Right.
Well, I didn't have the time to do that. So I think, between your...
hold on.
Hold on. Here it comes. This is I got a little sneak peek of this.
Yeah,
This is great.
Okay, I got to hear this. So,
Oh, yeah, you do.
You know what? Hold on. I just got to say, Fig, we were idiots. We didn't
we
say
were
to the
i-
Marine
well-
Corps. We didn't
well,
have
we were
time to go to
idiots.
OCS.
Yes. Oh, so here's the thing, though. We are idiots. That's
Yeah.
why we could never be a doctor and not do, get military indoctrination in 6 weeks. But it gets better,
Yeah.
doesn't
Well,
it, Doc?
My friends went, but I don't see how they went. I mean, I just didn't have the time between the, June and July. You ended 1 year and you went right to the next year, and you had to do a rotation in some sort of medical specialty.
Okay.
So by the time I was done with med school, well, let's back up. My 4th year in med school was the time that you could take 30-day rotations at different hospitals doing different, specialties. So my good buddy and I were going to go down to Balboa in San Diego, and I was going to do a nephrology rotation. It's 30 days.
Wait.
So
What is that? What
That's
is
like dead
That's-
people and shit, isn't it?
No, that's kidneys.
Oh,
nephrology is
kidney,
kidneys.
yeah.
Okay.
Necrology. I'm thinking that.
That's right.
Never mind.
Never mind. Yeah, we are so far out of our comfort zone right now, Doc. Be gentle, Doc.
Yeah.
Yeah, one finger, please.
Don't clinch, repeat.
Right.
Stay relaxed.
So that's a good thing about med school. The first 2 years are books, and you have to pass all the tests. The second 2 years are easier. It's a slide down. You just do all these rotations in different specialties, and it's not as much studying, and you learn, hands-on type things. So,
Okay.
so I went to San Diego, and there was one guy who was an intern there who taught us all what we needed to know on how to be an officer in one evening.
Wait, hold. Did you catch
That's
that,
what I
repeat?
thought.
Hold on. I
Was
think
that
my
your-
headphones are screwed up because he said one evening.
Did
That's
that
right.
suffice for your not going to the 6 weeks of charm school?
Well, I never was made to march, so that was good.
Dear God.
So that evening, the evening before my first day, he taught me how to wear my uniform. So I had no clue where to put anything.
Right.
And he taught us, who we should salute and who we shouldn't salute. And so that didn't go so well, because when I got there the first day,
Started saluting chiefs and stuff.
what was that?
Because you started saluting a bunch of chiefs and stuff because they got shiny crap on their collar, or
Oh, well, that was close. Yes. No. it was basically when you're walking down the street or the sidewalk and you see someone coming at you and you're not sure what to do. They have their white, board hat on. You cross the street so you don't have to worry about saluting. So I did a lot of crossing the street.
I was going to say, you're lucky you weren't hit by a car crossing the street so much, right?
Sheesh. Yeah, that's right.
So you cross the street a lot.
And, got close. I think I saluted, I was an ensign at that time. Was a student, I was an ensign. So I think I saluted some sort of chief or something a few times or whatever. But I think the big thing was you have to cross the street so you don't don't pass them, go from there.
Good.
So I think it went well as time went by. I started learning, more and more. And so that was my officer indoctrination school. Just kind of get out there and do it. And then people would comment on your uniform and how to tuck it in and what to do. So
do you have any idea how lucky you are? Whoever taught you didn't decide to royally screw with you.
That's true.
It teach you, that a first class petty officer wasn't an admiral, and
that is true. Now that
and one star is a seaman recruit, and
I knew that the flight surgeons didn't get a lot of training.
Yeah,
but I had no clue it was that minimal. How about that?
Well, I'll tell you, I think I was the outlier though, because most of my friends went to officer indoctrination school, so they learned how to do all that.
Where was that? Where, if you would have gone, where would you have gone?
I don't know. I want to say Rhode Island.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So since I didn't go, I kind of put that out of my mind.
Boo! Dodge that bullet. Well, that was pretty awesome. Yep.
So anyway, I did my rotation. And, I passed and everything was good, but that was kind of stressful, not knowing how to be an officer, when people salute me, but
I'm stressed out. I was stressed out.
So, after my 4th year, I got selected to go to Portsmouth Naval Hospital. So,
and that's in Portsmouth, Virginia, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So that supported all the troops at Norfolk and, all that area over there. Yeah, and I said that right, Norfolk. So
Norfolk. Yeah.
If you're in Nebraska, it's Norfolk.
Yeah.
If it's Virginia, it's Norfolk. So
I
learned that. So anyway, was an internal medicine intern there. So same thing, you do different rotations. I'm on call every 3rd night. And didn't have to wear the uniform very much because we just wore scrubs all the time. And my wife didn't see me very much. And when she did, I'd eat dinner at home and sleep on the couch, fall asleep on the couch.
So is this like the equivalent of an internship and then a residency? Is that what they were doing?
That's right.
Post-med school?
That's right.
Okay.
But most of us knew that we weren't going to get into a residency. There's only a few people that were going to stay in the hospital and go right to their internal medicine residency or their surgery residency, because I owed 3 years total. They gave me 2, I owed 3. And so, most of us, some of us were hoping to stay in our residency, but they said, well, no, you owe 2 more years. What do you want to do? Do you want to go to a clinic somewhere and be a general medical officer and just do physicals and see colds? Or do you want to do undersea medicine or flight surgery? So after talking to mom and dad, and they said, hardly anyone gets to be a flight surgeon. What an experience you would have, and, do something other than just being in a medical clinic.
Right.
So I said, great people you would be around all the time.
I know.
Those amazing fly boys.
So I really didn't have any interest or anything in aviation at that time. I mean, it's like, okay, I'll do flight surgery, whatever this is. I hate to say that, but
somebody,
because it was always, go to medicine. I wanted, this is my goal, medicine and such. So
So did anybody from the medical field give you any inkling that when you became a flight surgeon, it was going to be a lot like being a veterinarian, meaning your patients won't talk to you about what is wrong with them?
I learned that when I was at NAMI. I learned that when I went to in-flight surgery school. That's right.
Yeah.
All right, I want to hear about that.
Yeah. So hang on, we got to talk about NAMI. NAMI is the Naval Aeromedical Institute in Pensacola, Florida.
Yeah.
And when a flight student goes there and gets selected for a physical from those folks, it is lovingly referred to as the what, Fig?
NAMI whammy.
Yeah, baby.
The NAMI whammy.
That's great.
It was so stressful when you went there. It was out of your control. If they find something that makes you not airworthy, so to speak, right? You're done.
They like to look for
That's
it
true.
seemed too.
Yeah.
That was the worst of it.
Dig under every nook and cranny.
Yeah.
I tell you, I had something wrong with my labs. They made me drink like a whole gallon of water before I could retest, and I was sick, but I passed. So,
All right. So I have to tell a story because it just triggered. Now, JJ was in the Doc Squadron.
Yep.
And JJ and I were really good friends from the basic school and all the way through flight school. But when we went to Pensacola, we went and did our NAMI physical together. Okay? Now,
Okay.
I'm telling you this because I played a horrible joke on him, and I felt horrible about it for like a half a second. So he was really, really worried about his hearing, about passing the hearing test. Not his eyes, nothing else. He was worried about hearing because he spent a lot of time around machinery on the farm, and he never wore hearing protection, and he really did have bad hearing. So they put us in the little hearing booth together, both of us at the same time. We were taking the test at the same time.
what could go wrong?
And I knew this was going to be my only chance to get to do this to him. So, the test is you're holding that little plunger, and you're supposed to push it every time you hear the
Yeah. So,
right. And so I'm hearing mine, and then I'm whistling, and I'm seeing him, hitting it, and I'm whistling, and he's hitting it, and finally, the test's over. I know the test's over. The guy opens the door and he says, "You're good. You're good. You flunked. You're gonna do it again." And I looked at JJ and went, "Dude, that sucks." And of course, he passes the next time because no one's in there
whistling.
And he comes out, and he's, and I go, "Dude, you know what I was doing when we were in there, right?" And he goes, "What?" I told him, and then I had to run because he was pissed. Good news is I was a lot faster than he was. He got over.
That's funny.
I tell you, that's great.
I
Anyway,
remember those.
Yeah. Oh, it's scary. Okay, so you go to NAMI, and that is your what happens there for you?
yeah. Well, what they do is a few things. They try to teach you some aerospace medicine, what the pilots experience and what they could experience, what kind of pathology they could,
So do they make you go through all the dunkers and the spinning puke and the hypoxia chamber and all that stuff too?
Exactly. So
Okay.
they
good.
have us do the same thing that the pilots go through, or their pilot students or whatever go through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Dilbert dunker, the Hilo dunker, and land survival.
What? Really?
Oh yeah, sea and water survival, the whole parachute thing.
Nice.
Treading water. You got to swim a mile.
Yeah.
In your flight suit, the whole thing.
I think I just thawed out from water survival about 2 weeks ago.
Your stock just went up a little bit. I had no idea
Yeah.
you actually got to do all that or had to. Do
Oh
all that.
yeah. We spent a lot of time in the pool and out Pensacola Bay or whatever.
Yeah.
The SAR had to pick us up once. We had to do that routine. And
Yep. Hey, when did you do that? When what time frame was that?
what it was July 1990 to January 91. That was the same time Desert Shield and Desert Storm was going on.
Okay.
You know, August.
Oh,
I guess
right.
that-
Yeah, right.
yeah. So
July to win? What?
January.
January.
Gosh,
So
so that was a significant amount of time down there.
yeah, 6 months. So you learn aerospace medicine. You know, you try to go over a lot of topics that anything, you know, psychology. You know, our job was to learn how to take care of the pilots, and of course the whole squadron. But the pilots, as you guys know, are the major asset of any squadron. So, you know, they wanted us to learn what the pilots were going through as far as training also. So we had to learn how to fly also. So we, you know, did the T-34 Charlie. We did the land, sea survival, you know, all that too. So
Did they take you guys through solo? Did you get to solo on the T-34?
I missed it by 1 day. So I didn't get to solo, but I got 13 FAMs. I guess there's the 14th FAM is
Sounds right.
solo, something like that. So
Okay.
it rained so much in January that year that we had a hard time getting up and stuff. But that was kind of fun. We learned all the high altitude power loss, low altitude power loss, all that stuff too. So so then at that time, all the pilots obviously go to fixed wing or helo, and we go to the fleet. So we're done. After we learn how to fly and we got all that stuff done, we go to the fleet. And all I remember is there was, I don't think we got to pick where we went. You know, we might have had a wish list or something. I don't remember what I wished for. I know
East
a lot
or
of people
west.
were, you know, saying F-18D, F-18D. You know, that's when the Ds were coming out.
Brand
Because
new,
there's
right,
two
yeah.
seats, and you get, you know, flight surgeons get right in the back seat.
True. But I remember one of the guys in my class, since Desert Shield and Desert Storm was brewing, he said that he wanted Diego Garcia.
Okay.
He wanted to go there because he knew that was safe from the war.
Okay.
So I don't know if he got it, but he just kept hoping, you know, and all the rest of us like, yeah, just give us anything. We're good. But I know he wanted to go to Diego Garcia, and it's a little outpost in the Indian Ocean, something
Right.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been there, and I hope he got to go because you know.
I hope he had fun.
I hope he had fun.
Oh man.
Well,
So
I know
then-
where. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know how it got chosen, but they said, okay, you got VMA 214, and so I came home to my wife and I said, I've got some good news and bad news.
I know what the bad news is. What did you tell her the good news?
No, I
was?
said I got Harriers. You know, I got Harriers, VMA 214. You know,
Yeah, the Black
I'm
Sheep.
psyched. You know,
Black
the
Sheep
bad news
Squadron.
is it's in Yuma, Arizona.
And then she cried.
Yeah, heat, hot. You know, so we didn't know much about that. But
Of course, this was January, so you know it was probably.
It's
not
pleasant for
cold.
3 days there in January, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
That's right. Yeah, but yeah. So I think
That's cool.
you know, going back, I think the first time I ever really got really a kind of a desire for naval aviation was maybe the first week that we got to Pensacola to go to NAMI for school. The air show, the Blue Angels were there. So it's like, okay, let's go see the air show. So I took my, you know, of course, my wife and I think he was 4 months at that time in a little stroller. And the first thing I remember was the one solo pilot coming straight over us and louder than ever.
Yeah.
You know, we had no hearing protection or anything, but
Sent him right through the roof of his.
man.
Yeah.
And so that's what hooked me right there. So when I'm listening to your podcast, Lawman, Intake, you know, the Blue Angel stories and stuff.
Yeah.
That's a little bit near to my heart because that was the first, I guess my first foray into aviation, the Blue Angel show, you know.
That's the best one you'll ever see right there on the beach.
That's right. That's right.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So I think one of your other guests didn't know when the Harriers got night vision goggles. When I got to the Black Sheep in February of, what was it, 91?
February
They
9th.
already had night vision goggles and such then. So I'm not sure when they, you know, like it was new, but
The West Coast stood up the NVGs first. The night attack jets first went out to Yuma. I remember that because Fig and I only flew the day attack at 223.
gotcha.
Well, we flew it at night, but you know, we just couldn't see shit.
we were doing really smart stuff like bombing underneath flares.
Yeah.
And
One
then
guy
trying
drops
to join
flares, and then we go bomb.
Ah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What could
and then
go wrong?
joining back up in the dark after your rods and cones are washed out, you know,
Yeah,
what could go wrong?
We don't need no stinking night vision.
Yeah.
that's right. So I had to learn about that too. But the bad thing was I didn't get any night vision goggle use in the Harrier because they only have one seat, as you know. So, and then when VMAT 203 came out, of course, we didn't do any night vision stuff. And that's where I got my flight time in the Harrier was that when the East Coast came out, when the trainers came out, every once in a while, I could fly with them,
So you had a little bit of flight experience, and then you get in the Harrier, and it comes to a complete stop airborne. Tell me what that was like, because I can remember what it was like for me.
Well, most of the flight surgeons are like, oh, I want to get a cat shot, or I want to get a, but with the Harrier, that's what you want to do. You want to be able to hover, it was fun. It was awesome. I mean, the pilot, I forget who was with me that day. I think it might've been Cutter or something, but, he's like, okay, Doc, here we're going to hover. This is what you do. So he kind of told me what to do. I was in the back seat, of course. And so I got to hover for about 15 or 20 seconds and, and gave it back to him. I could check that off my bucket list.
Nice. And I'll tell you this much, if you never got a cat shot, when he put the power in the corner for takeoff in a Harrier, that was as close to a cat shot as I'd ever been in my life before or since. I mean, it was a little less violent, but not much.
Is that right?
Yeah. That there is that much power when it puts you back in your seat a good 3 Gs.
Yeah, it was impressive.
Well, I'll tell you, I enjoyed the Harrier. I think some of the runs we went on, I think we did a few bombing runs where, you kind of go inverted and you acquire the target, then you kind of nose down, and then you flip over and drop your bomb. That was awesome. I really enjoyed that. That was good. I don't think I did any air-to-air in the Harrier. That was with the Aggressor Squadron and some of the others, but that was fun. I really enjoyed the Harrier.
So while we're talking about it, so the Aggressor Squadron out there in Yuma, they had F5s at the time, is that right?
Yes. And they had one 2-seater.
Okay, so you were flying in the back seat of the Aggressor. So you got to do a little air-to-air? Got to see some air-to-air action?
Yeah, and I got to tell you, I think I don't know if this is just flight surgeons or just anyone, but there's a certain routine that you have to go through in order to set yourself up so you don't lose your cookies every time.
Okay.
So when you get in, you just have to make sure that your sleeves are, they had Velcro on your sleeves.
Right.
Undo those.
Okay.
Bring your zipper down a little bit. And then I think there were air vents just outside. So you could grab a hold in front of you and a little further out. And they're air vents. So you had to make sure the air vents were pointing right up your sleeve.
Okay.
All right. So you could get a maximum air as much as you can.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
And of course, you practice beforehand, taking your O2 mask off as fast as you can. And you practice it and keep practicing it because you don't want to throw up in your O2 mask.
No, you don't want to do that.
And then you got to make sure your sickness bag is in that lower pocket on your ankle. You know, all flight suits have that lower pocket, so it's ready and available at any time. So, but I remember, you know, I only probably lost it once or twice. But there was a lot of times I came home, you know, a little queasy, you know, after, you know, telling my wife that I'd flown or whatever. She always told me, never tell me when you're going to fly. Just tell me when you come back.
There you
All
go.
right. That's fair enough.
So she didn't have to worry. But
There you go. I actually did that to my wife when our daughter slow loading gliders. I took her up to the airport that morning, and I knew she was going to solo, but we didn't tell my wife until after it was done, and I sent her video. Well, didn't you know she was going to solo? I go, that was on purpose.
Probably not bad. Not a bad idea. That's good.
Yeah,
work.
no, not at all. But oh man, you know, I don't know about you, Fig. I've always been very fortunate. Knock wood. The only time I've ever been a little bit motion sick or queasy in my life is in a flight simulator when the motion doesn't match the visuals, when they're doing a reset or something like that. All the air-to-air that we did, and I used to ride in the back seat of the A4s before I got there, and you know, before I got to that part of the syllabus, never bothered me once. And I remember keying the mic the first time I was with the Squadron XO. We were in a vertical scissors, and I'm looking up at the ground and the airplane below us. And I keyed the mic, and he told me later, he was going, uh-oh, he's going to tell me he's sick, knock it off. I was like, this is awesome. He goes, all right, good. You know, keep going. So I was one of those people who was blessed with never having vestibular issues with motion sickness.
I can say the same thing.
Yeah.
It's a true blessing.
yeah.
Yeah,
I know.
because I watched guys suffer through that.
Oh my gosh,
God, it looked
I know.
miserable.
We had peers. We both have peers.
Yeah.
That, throwing up was just part of it. I'm going to throw up on this sortie. That's okay.
Yeah.
Throw up, put it in my pocket, and we're going to press on.
Yeah.
And then
I
intake
did it a
talking
few
about
times.
the San Diego
Texas.
kicker puking on his displays.
Right.
Oh man.
But I tell
That's
you,
not good.
the F5 is where I got most of my flight time. For a flight surgeon, you have to have 4 hours a month.
Okay.
A
That was
minimum
going to be
4.
another question. So to keep your flight surgeon
Flight status.
Yeah, I guess.
to keep from getting harassed by NAMI people?
Yeah, I don't know what happens when you don't get 4 hours. I think there was 1 or 2 months I didn't for various reasons, but nothing happens. But they tell you got to have 4 hours a month. So most of the time, if there was squadrons coming into Yuma, I would go to their squadron house and, hey, can I get a ride? And so I got some rides in a few things, obviously, and overseas I got some rides in some other things.
Yeah.
But the F5 is probably the most flight time, and I just remember I can only remember one flight, and I never was in the briefing beforehand. It was always, okay, Doc, suit up and let's go.
Yeah,
and
nice.
so
Show up at step time.
yeah,
Yeah,
it was a
right.
2v2, two of the aggressors versus 2 Harriers. And he says, okay, we are going to go out together, but then one of us F5s is going to split off, and then we'll join up a little bit to the right, and then we'll attack them from, blah, 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 either side. I don't know what.
Yeah.
So I just remember I was in the back seat, and he goes, okay, Doc, I'm going to give you the controls. I said, okay, got him. He says, okay, I want you to turn right now. And I'm turning like Delta Airlines. I'm turning really slowly. He goes, all
Don't spill your martini.
controls. And then he grabbed him back and just like yanked.
Right.
Bam.
Right.
Bounce your head
That
off
was
the
a
canopy.
mistake. So,
Little
I don't
different.
think he let me have the controls again. But the thing with that, is I think I got one F-18 ride. It was the same. Is you don't know what's going on, and so you just get thrown around and you pull some G's, and then you're left, then you're right, then you're up, And so that's the problem. You don't.
Did you ever
don't
get
know
your helmet bounced off the canopy because you didn't know it was coming?
I don't remember. I don't think so.
Well,
That must have been hard.
yeah.
I was holding on tight.
Yeah. So I can tell you this, especially in the A4, it would roll. You could roll that airplane so fast you couldn't stop from banging your helmet on the canopy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
720 degrees per second.
Yeah.
2 full rolls per second. That was an awesome airplane.
You have the stick in your hand. You know it's coming. You go full throw, and your head hits the canopy.
How long were you guys in the A4s?
Well, so we flew it as students, and then I went back to being an instructor in it, and then there was an OA4 Mike Squadron that at Cherry Point that I actually got stashed in for a little while, so I got a bunch of time in it there too.
Yeah, so I just did my student time in it, and a little bit in the OA4 at Cherry Point, but maybe a month of riding around in it there. But yeah, probably. And what was the A4? This was probably close to a year, wasn't it? It's about 9 months to get through A4s.
Wow.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah.
You were going to get 125 or 30 hours in it, probably.
Yeah.
Fun to fly?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very, very fun.
That's what I heard.
I missed having 1,000 hours in it by this much.
That's too bad.
I know.
That's too bad. So you mentioned going overseas, though. So actually, let me back up for just a second. I learned something here. They sent you to 214. I didn't realize that the Navy controlled that. I thought they gave you all to the Marine Corps wing or group, and then they spit you into whatever squadron or whatever space
I
they
didn't
needed.
realize that either.
Yeah, that's kind of neat that the Navy says, who needs it?
I don't know
We're
how it
sending you here.
happened. I just had orders.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. But then, so you went overseas on a Air Force calls it UDP. We just call it a Westpac deployment for 6 months to Iwakuni. Was that where you were?
Yeah, went to Iwakuni. We spent about 3 months there. We spent about the other 4 months in Kadena. I think you guys would know that. They probably handle the Harrier a little bit better than Iwakuni. I'm not sure. But I spent 4 months in Kadena, which was the Air Force base there in Okinawa. That was fun. Just in Iwakuni, the medical department consisted of me and 2 corpsmen, and the two corpsmen that I had were great. And we had like one huge hangar to ourselves.
Nice. Okay.
It was empty, and I didn't spend much time there. Just spent time, walking around and most of the time in the ready room and with the pilots and stuff.
So explain what a corpsman is to our listeners.
Corpsman is a Navy, kind of like a medic. They learn, some, like in EMT, they learn, EMT type stuff. So I always had 2 of those. They could start IVs or take care of first aid, anything like that. So
They could do sutures, things like that if needed.
yeah, probably. So, but they weren't utilized very much because we had a pretty healthy crew. I think the enlisted folks in the Black Sheep, they kind of went to them more than they went to me.
Okay.
I think they could kind of gel with their enlisted buddies and stuff like that. So they walked around, and even though I walked around in all the spaces and made sure everything was fine, I spent a lot of the time with the pilots, making sure they were good. That's my job, is make sure that everyone's fine on the home front. They're psychologically healthy, physically healthy, things like that. So
yeah.
Of course, there's. I mentioned this earlier. Most of the aviators weren't going to voluntarily tell you they had something that was going to be a disqualifying problem.
That's true. I think we learned at NAMI that they're your best. The flight surgeon is the best friend and the worst enemy. So
Right.
So it was one of these things that we knew that we probably weren't told. I wasn't told everything.
Yeah.
And there's a few times where I grounded 1 or 2 pilots, and they were pissed off for sure. they went to the CO and complained, and luckily the CO backed me up. But you feel really bad when that happens, but you have to. But yeah, so we knew that we're enemy and the best friend, of course. But I got to tell you, all the pilots of the Black Sheep, most all of them, they took me in. They took care of me, and a good bunch of pilots. So I really enjoyed my time there. They took care of me.
Well, that's because that's because they trusted you and they liked you. If they thought you were out to get them and not a good guy, not a guy that was going to try to keep them flying, then no, you wouldn't have got that reception.
Yeah, I think you're right. This may be against all regulations, but
here it comes.
Hold
on, let me hit record.
Get ready to delete.
Go ahead.
No, near the end of my deployment, a handful of the guys gave me a Marine pea cutter to wear.
Nice.
And that's probably totally not, it's against the rules. Totally.
Whatever.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, they gave you a green one because yours was a khaki color.
That's right.
Navy's was a khaki color. Yeah, they gave you that.
That's right.
And olive red, Charlie's green. Yeah.
Very
cool.
But I felt kind of funny doing that, but a few of them kept urging me to at least wear it a few times. So I did, but
nice.
I'd never admit to being a Marine. That's something that I would aspire to be, but I wasn't. So just to let everyone know.
Yeah, well, look, when you're let in honorary, it's for a reason. Like Fig said, they trusted you, and you did good work with them. It didn't. That isn't handed out just for grins. There's no doubt about it.
I just felt so honored to, be asked to do that. Like I said, so that touched me. That was something.
Well, in a classic example, what Fig's telling you is true. Remember our second show, Fig, with Sleeper.
Yep.
He actually jumped off a bridge on purpose from about 80 feet and was looking at the water when he hit.
In Iwakuni, by the way.
Yeah.
or somewhere around Iwakuni.
Yeah.
It might have been
near Iwakuni.
Bridge jumping was a thing when and by the way,
he couldn't. We think he broke his bones in his neck. He couldn't move his head for a week or 2 weeks. I just won't tell the flight surgeon. I'll be fine. I'll take myself off the flight schedule for a week, and then I'll be back at it.
Yep. We VMA 223 actually relieved your squadron in Westpac. That when you left, we showed up.
We met you guys there in May of '92.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you guys are in the same squadron then, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we were in the same squadron. And as a matter of fact, J.J. Smith gave me his Binge Old Bummer bike. It became my bike.
Nice.
When is that right?
Yeah, it was a peach.
Yeah, everyone had one.
Yeah, you had to have it. Had to have it to get
That's
around.
the only way to get around. That's right.
That's right.
So,
So I think when I was overseas, I was able to get to the Philippines for 2 weeks, which was fun. And there was just a few small mishaps. I think
that's like adult Disneyland, right? The PI.
Yes, that was fun. Yeah. However, we were in Kadena, and I arranged with another flight surgeon to take care of my squadron when I was gone for 2 weeks. And I pleaded with Sheriff, he was our CO at the time, hey, you're covered. This other guy's going to cover you. So about a few days when I was in the Philippines, I saw him in a Longapo. And he was not covering my squadron.
Oh, the other flight surgeon. Oh, shit.
He's in Longapo in the Philippines with you. That's nice. Yeah.
Who's covered my squadron if you're here? Oh, no.
That's exactly right. So that didn't make
Got
me
a couple capable corpsmen back there. You're all good.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. No one, got hurt, or there was nothing too bad. So I had to explain to my CO what happened, though. But we did have a big mishap when I was overseas, though. We, I guess, some of the Harriers went down to Singapore and they did a static display.
Oh,
And,
I know that. I know that. I know what you're
At
getting.
the static displayed in the air show, which means
Right.
not flying, but come look at our airplane. It's cool.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I guess Spyco, his Harrier caught on fire as they lifted off, and he ejected. And the Harrier landed in the jungle of Malaysia,
Across the border.
Across the border.
Oops.
So that meant C-130 flight for all of us to go down there. He was fine, so first night we got there, we were put up in this 4 or 5 star hotel, and we all loved it. Phones in the bathrooms, and
there's enough of that. No more of that.
yeah. But the second night, they found some old British quarters or something for us to live in. So, we started to slum it then. But that was interesting because the next day, when we were going to Malaysia from Singapore, there was about 20 of us. 20. That was the mishap team, I guess. And since I was done interviewing the pilot, and that's my job as a flight surgeon, I'm supposed to take care of the human factor and learn about the human factor in the mishap. What if the pilot had any problems, and if it was pilot error because of some psychological problem or physical medical issue. And so since that was over, I was down there, and so I became part of the team that was going to pick up all the shrapnel, all the broken up airplane. So we get to the border, and it took us a few hours, but they had a bus for us. And so we got in the bus in Malaysia, and they had an armed guard with an AK-47 on the bus. So we went about an hour into the jungle, and so we proceeded over the next 2 weeks to dig the Harrier out piece by piece. I think I sent you some pictures.
Yeah, I'm going to try and call that up now for those that are watching, and I won't bet it at this point in the show for those that are not. But here we go. So we got that there, and
holy cow!
This picture that you have here. It's at the very end, and it looks like we're about 15 feet down, maybe more. That's how far we had to dig to get the Harrier out.
To get all the parts out.
Yeah. But I got to tell you, after seeing this picture, guess who took the picture? The guard with the AK-47. So he could have easily just mowed us down and buried us, and that would have been that,
Right.
But there's Travel and Santa there in that same picture. And then the guy from I think McDonnell Douglas, or he was one of the experts. He's the guy in the white shirt.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I don't know. It can't be.
That wasn't a Rolls Royce rep, because that was Bob Nidifer. Remember Bob?
Right. Yep. Yeah. He was in Iwakuni.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So how were there any big pieces left, or was it all pretty small pieces?
Yeah, the engine was pretty much intact. It was the biggest piece, but I think there were some other pictures that showed. You can see all the little scraps that we were picking up and everything. And we put everything through sifters, all the dirt, put it through sifters, but you can see all the small pieces.
Yeah. And a thing that a lot of people don't know, particularly about the Harrier, the sad thing about that, after a mishap like this, it was a carbon fiber airplane. And so
weight was very important. So
weight was very important. So the wings were carbon fiber, and basically you got these tiny little, almost microscopic threads of carbon fiber, of Kevlar. And when it got delaminated in a crash as it broke up, if you pick that up with your hands, that stuff would penetrate your skin and stay for days, weeks. It was miserable. So you had to have all that extra protective clothing in the heat of Malaysia, where it was, at least it was humid.
Jeez. Yeah, it was hot. So we did that every day. We went back and got our bus ride escorted to the site. And I was there just picking up, going 100 yards aft and forward, trying to figure out if there's any other pieces of the aircraft. So that was something for sure.
Ags, it's funny. Ags, right?
I don't know
said the
Ags.
name Ags. Yeah, he was in your squadron. Dave Alio.
Oh, Ags. Okay, I thought you said Axe. Okay,
Ags.
yeah.
Yeah, I saw him in ops at one of our domiciles not too long ago, and that came up. That Spiko's ejection, because I think he was there. He was the wingman, or he was a witness to
Yeah,
it.
he
Watched
was.
him
Him
go.
and Hollywood.
Okay.
Someone else. Okay. What do you
That's
say
awesome.
about it?
No, he just said that, I said, you need to come on our podcast and tell your story. He goes, I don't really have any stories. I go, yes, you do. Everybody does. So, yeah, Ags, if you're listening, you're next, buddy.
Come on. So here's another cool thing. We've kind of buried the headline on this, though. Why is a doctor digging around in a crash site?
Exactly.
Why would you do that? What was your role there, other than physical labor to help? You got a medical degree. You don't need a man a shovel.
That's
What you
it.
do.
That's it. I don't know. What I really think happened
Pure
was
harassment.
Spiko got on a plane to head toward Okinawa, and I was on a C-130 going down there. So I don't think I even did his physical at that time. So I was down there with the crew. And they said, okay, all hands on deck. So
Told Spiko, you got to go to Olongapo and get your physical, man. Hurry down there.
Wow.
So, I'm there. I'm a warm body. So
Well, you were, but the fact is, I'm assuming, I could be wrong, but I'm assuming you were also on the investigation board, because you have a safety officer, a medical officer, a senior officer, and then your tech reps come in from Boeing, or not Boeing, from McDonnell Douglas and Rolls Royce and all that.
That's right. I think I still have that report somewhere, or part of it or something.
Yeah.
But,
the doc is an integral part to the investigation team as to what went on, and rules out or rules in physiological and all that kind of stuff too. So
when you first see the pilot after the mishap, you do your flight physical, thorough flight physical, you do blood work and such if needed, but then you have this questionnaire you give them also, and it has to do with what they ate 48 hours prior, all the way up to the mishap, how they slept, what they did. I mean, it's just very in depth of everything they did. So you can say, okay, well, you didn't have much sleep. Is that part of the problem? Or, they talked about, the home life and things like that too. But it was very, very in depth. Excuse me. So.
Yeah, you're any notion of privacy goes right out the window once you're involved in a mishap. And I'm aware of a couple, like, and the NTSB goes in and looks at a commercial one. They go so far as to look at when the pilot who was on layovers swiped their room key card to get in and out of their room. When were they sleeping? They go through their
text
credit
message,
card bills,
time,
text
train,
messages,
everything,
all of it.
right? Yeah.
Wow.
How long did you stay in 214? When did you leave 214?
It was 1993. So July of 1993. So I spent about 2 years there, roughly.
Okay.
And most of the time, what you do, the average day for a flight surgeon when you get back.
That just led right into one of my next questions.
Boom. Yeah.
What's an average? What's a day in the flight surgeon's life in a Harrier Squadron?
Well, yeah. When you're at home, when I was at Marine Corps Air Station in Yuma, in the morning you did clinic at the medical clinic. You went and you saw patients, and it was kind of a sick call most days. So you saw everyone, that came in. But there were a few days that you just saw the squadron wives or something like that. Family of the squadron. So, those days you'd see a few of the wives and whatever they had problems with or whatever. And of course, when you go to the squadron, the pilots always Hey, Doc, did you take care of my wife? You know, yeah. Did you take care of my wife? You know.
Oh boy.
So there was time, you know, that's how you joked, I guess. But
Sure.
so in the morning, that's when you do clinic. And then in the clinic, there was some general medical officers and they did clinic all day. The flight surgeons, we had our own office. We did clinic in the morning. And then in the afternoon, we dispersed to our squadrons. So after, you know, in the general medical officers, they had to wear their khakis, whereas we flight surgeons, we wore our flight suits all day, of course.
Yeah, because you were
like
badass.
pajamas.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then we went to the squadron and hung out in the afternoon at the squadron, either getting flight time or just hanging out with the pilots or talking to a sergeant major or, you know, just kind of doing the rounds, so to speak. You know, so that was fun. I really enjoyed that time.
And that's when you would get the, hey, Doc, let me run this by you. So,
I got the creeping crotch rod, Doc.
Yeah, so
Come look at
they
this.
wouldn't go. They didn't want to go to the clinic. Hey, so every once in a while, when I have a bowel movement, I black out. And when I wake up, there's blood in the stool. Is this bad? Nope, you're good, bro.
Oh, I'm sorry, listeners. You just can't control Fig some days.
I did that. Hey, I pulled that on a brand new. Just as I was leaving 223, we got this brand new flight surgeon, and this. I mean, he literally looked like he was 19 years old, just greener than green. He probably got less than an hour of Navy officer training. And he shows up in the squadron one day, and I meet him right out of the gate, you know, and I'm feeling kind of frisky. And I put that on him. I go, hey, you got time for a question? He goes, yeah, sure, yeah. So I said, so let's, you know, we found a corner ready when nobody's around. I said, so, and I said it just like that, but I said it very convincingly. And I saw the blood start to drain from his face when I told him. And I go, I'm just shitting you, Doc. And he goes, oh, thank God.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we're kind of thrown in there. Yeah, we're, you know, just newbies, not knowing what to do, really. You know, so it's good when people can, take pity on you a little bit and help you out.
So before you left VMA 214 in July, you flew the Harrier out there, the T-Bird. You flew in an F5, and then what was that? Where you flew in a CH-53? Was it in Yuma?
I believe it was, yeah. So that was my only night vision goggle flight with a CH-53. You know, so I was in the back, and all I could see is this rectangular green window, and they would not let me get up and look out the front or anything. And I just a lot of thumping, and that was probably the scariest flight I've had.
Horrific.
That's terrifying.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Horrific. I see here you got flew in an S3.
Yeah, that was overseas. So I got
did you
a
get a
flight
cat?
in
Did you
S3,
get a
and
cat shot?
We went right over Mount Pinatubo, and I guess a few months prior, it had erupted. So everything
it turned half the Philippines into the surface of the moon.
Yeah, a little thin layer of dust everywhere. You know,
So did you fly off the? Did you get a trap? And
not at all.
Oh shit.
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got some time in a P3. Looks like.
Yeah, I guess P3 has like 21 seats, and someone just said, "Hey, Doc, we have one more seat to go. We're going to go to Osan for a shopping trip."
Well, there you go.
So okay, I'm on board. So you
spend
4 or 5 hours on board. You go there, you go shopping for leather
get the tracksuit, the parka, the ski parka.
Got to get your Mr. Lim's custom made suit. Now, you were logging flight time though, right? Because you need it for. Oh yeah.
That's exactly right.
Hails to the
I got that in my logbook.
I was liking it to this. I was in Pensacola and my sister was living in Bermuda, and so I did a Space A flight while I was in the pool waiting to start flight school. I got a ride in a P3 to Bermuda. That night was the longest winter of my life. I was so cold in the back of that airplane.
Oh, really?
It was up in the 25,000 foot range. There was no heat back there. They didn't heat it because all the electronic equipment needed to stay cool.
Oh yeah.
We were all huddled by the cockpit door going, please let me stand next to the door next. Oh, God. And then the upside was we landed, they put the tail stand up, and this chief comes up the back ladder with a ice chest full of beer, and we all stood around drinking beers for about half an hour. And I disappeared into the country, never checked once for my passport, for nothing.
How about that?
Yeah.
I see you logged a little time in an F-18. So
just one flight, just one ride.
Okay.
And I think it was the least out of all of them because it was an air-to-air thing. And they went up and jostled around and letting,
that was great.
Did this, did that, and knock it off. And we went home. So I didn't see very much of anything. So, but I did get, I could check that off my list, but
there you go.
All right.
Well, that's one more ride than Fig and I got.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
How about
the EA6B? We noticed that's there too. Did you get the front seat or the back seat?
It's just back seat on that one.
Yeah.
So not a lot of forward visibility, from what I understand.
Not too much.
Yeah. No. So was the guy sitting next to you in the back? Was he doing work? Making beeps and squeaks and geeking out, or was it where?
I know he was doing something, but
I know he was doing something.
I was busy trying to look out the front,
Yeah.
Did he give you the old, hey, Doc, here, don't touch anything, and right, just sit right here, don't touch anything.
Going to shut down the Pacific Coast here once you hit that button. When no TV signals for 1,000 miles.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I tell you. Yeah, but we got home from Westpac. End of May, what was it? 92.
Okay.
And that next month, that's when JJ had his mishap.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that was about a week prior to my wife giving birth. And so,
oh my gosh,
I don't know who made the decision. I never asked, but they automatically assigned another flight surgeon to that investigation. So,
well, that was smart.
I would have been going up to Davenport or whatever, but
yeah.
They said, okay. My CO just said, okay, Doc, you're gonna have a baby here in a few days. So why don't we're gonna send someone else. So part of me wanted to go up there and represent, but the other part of me, I didn't want to see any part of it because he was a good friend of mine.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that was horrible. Yeah, we lost a good Marine
guy. Really good guy.
We were in each other's weddings.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And the tragedy of that one, not the whole thing was a damn tragedy, but the tragedy of that was his parents watched it happen.
Yeah.
So they were there as he was leaving. So, JJ, thank you for your service. God bless and fair winds. So, well, that's a happy note.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. Super.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Doc.
Yeah. Way to go.
Well, I got a lighter story to tell you. Maybe.
Well, let's go.
Let's get out of there. Yeah.
I think one of the funniest things that happened, I think it was after we got back from Westpac and everything. Sheriff, I think he was still our CO at that time, but he was coming in from some other place. He was flying in a Harrier, and he was about ready to land. We were all in the ready room, and so we all decided to head out. About 20 of us, mostly pilots, but some of the crew. And so we near the runway so he could see us. And when he came in to land, we did an about face and dropped our flight suits and bent over and gave him the moon. So we call that the 21 moon salute.
Excellent. I was wondering what that was. The 21 moon salute.
I think that was pretty fun.
Farewell, Skipper.
Hello. Welcome back.
Asshole. That's awesome.
Yeah, but I enjoyed my time. With the Black Sheep. There's some good guys you got to have on. I'm sure they have good stories.
We're working though. We're working that angle. Yeah. It's hard to nail people down. It's just it's life. Everybody's busy and
life happens.
Yeah. So after you left VMA 214, you went to Balboa Naval Hospital in San Diego for a short stint.
Yeah, so that the year before, I think after I got back from my deployment, I had 1 year to go, and that's about the time that during this time I'm at VMA 214. I'm still going and going to Bethesda and spending a little bit of time in their derm department. I went to because that was my interest, dermatology. And I went to Balboa.
Well, when did that happen though? Because you were internal medicine, and
That's
so
true.
when did that? How did that work? How did you decide?
It was during my internship. Yeah, backing up is during my internship year, and you have to do 1 month rotations in your internship year. The second half, I think in January, February, was a dermatology rotation, and the first day of my rotation, I go in. I'm like, wow, everyone's happy. Everyone's smiling and happy and energetic. Whereas in internal medicine, I mean, you're kind of beat down, So I've got something in my heart for internists and family practice, and my brother's a family practice. God bless him, man. He works hard and doesn't get paid for it. But anyway, so as soon as I got in and did that month rotation, I knew exactly what I wanted to do.
That's it.
So, yeah.
Boom.
Well,
as an aside, I would like to say thank you for being a dermatologist, because he is my dermatologist, RePete.
There you go.
It has been for like the last 24 years, 5 years.
Yeah,
nice.
And we've got some stories.
You know what he says to me every single time he sees me naked? He says, "Holy shit, you have a lot of moles." He goes, "No, really, you have a lot of moles."
See, Doc, that's not a mole. That's my.
Yeah. Right.
Oh,
I thought that was a
man.
skin tag.
Yeah.
Skin tag, mole, whatever it is.
That's just a skin. That's not a skin tag.
yeah.
That's
Hold on a second. We're talking about some personal. Let's stop right now.
That's right.
okay. Hang on, Fig. Let me mute you and turn your camera off, Doc.
Right.
Between you and me.
And do I have your permission? It's HIPAA. I got to get your permission.
Look,
You have my
Fig
permission.
told me earlier that
You have my permission.
you have his permission. You can tell me anything about him.
Hey,
and the people watching, they don't mind. They won't.
We
tell
do
him.
have a lot of fun when I come for my when I come for my semi-annual visits.
That's true.
We do have a lot of fun, and it's never dull. Let's just put it that way.
Nope.
Yeah. Fig and I, we kind of team up and play pranks on my medical assistants and stuff. So
Nice.
some are pretty good. Some are good.
Yeah.
Even though usually, if any of my patients are watching, I'm very, I want to.
Usually, I'm very professional.
Oh, he's very professional.
I like to have fun. I like to have fun.
Yeah, it's good.
Too, but
Yeah.
no. So you during that time you visit those residency programs and you interview while I'm a flight surgeon, and then that year the head of the dermatology department in San Diego called me personally and said, "Hey, would you like to come and join us?" So I did 3 years at the Naval Medical Center in San Diego in the dermatology department, learning dermatology.
Okay.
And then they said, "Well, you've done 3 years of training. You owe us 2 more."
What?
Yeah, of course. So they sent me up to Great Lakes Naval Hospital. That's in Waukegan, Illinois.
Yeah.
That's where the boot camp is, one of the Navy boot camps.
Okay.
And so I spent 2 years up there, and so since the boot camp was there, I saw all their dermatology that they needed, but also I was in charge of disqualifying people if they had different conditions, disqualifying them from getting in the military if their condition was bad or whatever. So I had to make that decision. So.
Okay, I thought of a technical question that you may or may not be able to answer. Tattoos. So I've been told. Say my oldest son is a walking tattoo. I mean he's covered literally, from the neck down, sleeves, legs, everything. And so I've heard, and tell me if this is true, like dermatologists hate tattoos because you can't see what's happening on the skin. You know, like a skin cancer growth, or
Yeah.
I mean, so can you talk about that?
I don't mind tattoos. I mean, you know, I have a lot of patients that have them.
Wrong answer.
Everybody
He
has
wanted, he wanted to be able to tell them that.
Everybody has tattoos.
Yeah, it makes it a little bit tougher, you know. So they
Okay.
say if you have a lot of moles, try not to get a tattoo, you know, where you have a number of moles, because if they change, you won't see them as quickly. You know,
See,
so
I can't
Okay.
ever have a tattoo.
So
'cause
I've
I
got
have
a
too many
question that I
damn
don't
moles.
think I've ever asked, but I've always wondered.
Uh-oh, here it comes.
Yeah, no. Why does a tattoo work? It seems to me if you inject ink, you know, you cut your skin, it grows back. It seems to me if you inject ink, it would eventually go away. How does that work? What's the physiology behind a tattoo being a permanent thing?
well, it's like buckshot,
Okay.
or you know, it's like gunpowder getting, you know, it's just the particles are too large for your immune system and for your white blood cells to take it out, and they just stay there. So even though you have skin cells that are regenerating around it, you still have that particle. It's kind of engulfed in white blood cells and trying to, you know, wall it off, but
Okay.
it goes nowhere. You know, so.
And there's what, 4 layers to the skin? Now we're in medical school. 4
I
layers?
guess you could say 4. Some people say 7, depending on how you know,
Oh, okay. But it's
how
a
you
couple
break it
layers deep.
It is. It's in the dermis. So
Okay.
that's the mid layer of skin. So your epidermis is on top and your dermis is the middle. So that's where it stays.
All right, what
Okay.
about tattoo removal?
Yeah.
How do you do tattoo removal?
That looked like it hurt.
Have you removed somebody's tattoo?
When I was a resident, we had some lasers that could, you know, remove tattoos. And the way the laser works is it breaks up the particle small enough that your immune system can take it away. So
Okay.
they have some really cool lasers nowadays. There's a Pico laser that really breaks them up and does a really good job with a lot of tattoos. But I don't have that. It costs too much for me to buy. So
More than a Mercedes.
Weird.
that's right.
All right. Well, thank you for that little.
We
I just
went
thought-
down that rabbit hole, didn't we?
Well, tattoos. I don't have any, but if I had one and wanted it removed, I didn't know if you would cut it off, freeze it off, zap it. I don't know how it works.
Yeah.
Laser it off. That's right.
Laser it off. Okay.
There you go. I got my wings on my chest so that I would never be out of uniform. Just saying.
Is that right?
So
Well,
there,
Doc,
there.
listen. I know you didn't think you had anything to talk about, but you know we've been talking for an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Talking
awesome,
about
man.
nothing.
No, this has all been good
It's
stuff, man.
Friday
Everybody
night at the
has
bar,
And
chatting with the flight quack. So he
We've
doesn't,
never
doesn't
had a
ground us
flight
on
surgeon.
Monday.
I had no idea how you made a flight surgeon. What kind of
Apparently, you
things-
have to go to a cocktail party and someone tells you who to salute. I don't.
That's right. That's right.
Well, you know, I didn't know that he damn near soloed a T-34, and he had to do all the dunkers, and that's pretty cool.
Yep.
That is
The
cool.
whole thing. Yeah.
That is
Well,
awesome.
All right, what
Good
kind of
Doc,
questions?
thank you for stepping up and thank you for your service. That's a big deal.
Thank
That's
you for
not for
yours.
nothing.
Thank you for your service. No,
Yeah, you guys have some good guests on. You know, I'm humbled by being on because the guests that you have, you know, Captain Royce, Slav,
Oh my gosh.
Colonel Spicer, the whole group. That's something. You guys,
It is.
We are.
you guys
I'll
do
tell
the
you,
work.
we're the ones who are humbled. Every one of our guests has been outstanding, and we're right. Fig. We fell ass backwards into this deal.
Yeah.
And we're
I
getting
thought
to
it was
talk
going
to all these amazing people. That,
I know. I thought it was going to be just a couple buffoons telling stories, and it ended up being so really therapeutic for everyone. And
Indeed.
thank you for sharing your stories. We've never had a flight surgeon on, and I'm sure we got people out there going, "Well, shit, I never knew that." And a lot of our listeners aren't even aviators, so they're not even sure what a flight surgeon is. Well, now we know.
Exactly.
Proud to be one. So just something different about having some brown shoes and a nice set of wings on your on your
Yes.
khakis, you know,
Yes,
when you're
there
in
is.
dermatology or whatever. So
Yeah.
enjoyed my time. That's for sure.
Very cool stuff. Awesome. Well, we got a couple other thank yous we got to get out there tonight too, Fig. Thank you to our sponsor, Babel. We've got to thank Brad Silcott over at BDSaviationphotography.com. He has loaned us some photos. The main one on our website is his. He's got a lot of others, and I'll be bringing more of those to you as we update the website. Count them, 2 new pilots this week on Patreon. Eric Flesher
That's awesome.
and Jason Spears. Yeah. Indeed. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Fig, I just got a question for you. If you were, say, on the market for a bikini, where might thou go?
Well, I can tell you that my favorite bikini to date is the one you can get on our merch site that has the "So There I Was" logo all over it in
There you
little
go.
bitty parts.
Right. So there I was.us/merch. Yeah. And you can get a bikini. You can get koozies. You can get a shirt like I'm wearing. You can get a hat, beer mugs, drinking glasses, coffee mugs, you name it. Go look, have some fun. If you don't see something that you want a "So There I Was" logo on, shoot us a question or shoot us an email at, how would you email you, Fig?
You could reach me at fig@sothereiwas.us.
There you go. Or you could also get the sticks at sothereiwas.us and me, repeat, REPETE, at sothereiwas.us. We have a glossary. If we've mentioned a term like NAMI and didn't tell you what it meant, we'll put that up there. If you get a term that you didn't understand, let us know. We'll get it on the glossary. And send us a photo of where you are when you were listening. We'll get it up on the website. We got a real nice email and a photo from or a screenshot from a gent earlier today. And I've got more to talk to him about that before we go any further. But wanted to do that. What's the other thing people need to do, Fig, so the word gets out?
Share the show. Share the show.
How
Share the
hard
show.
is that?
It's not hard. It's not hard.
hard at all.
Doesn't cost anything. Just share the show.
Tell your friends. Put it on Facebook. Put it on Twitter. Put it on Threads. Put it anywhere and everywhere you can think of. Share the show. Tell them how much fun we're having.
I'm having fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you also to Backbeat Media. They get our sponsors for us. They have a couple other great shows, one of which is hosted by Dave Hamilton, the Mac Geek Gab. Another one is the Gig Gab and the Business Brain. Those are Dave Hamilton's shows over from Backbeat Media. And I'm trying to think. It always escapes me near the end.
Well, I know what that is, and that is the sound of the 2
Greatness.
F-16 pilots that make the Air Force sound good.
Right.
The Dos Gringos.
Both of them.
Both
They-
of them.
The sound of greatness. That music is so much fun. And thank you to them for coming on our show and, more importantly, for letting us use their fantastic music. It is absolutely a privilege to be able to do that. Fig, what should we do? I'm thinking we need to start thinking about getting out of here. Until next week.
Don't sit on the ejection seat handle.
Don't do it.
Don't do it, Doc.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm
There I
broadcasting.
was crossing the pond, and you could see that I wasn't exactly fond of all the shit I was wearing on that day.
around here.
Now an F-16 is cramped enough, but it's even worse with all that stuff supposed to save your life. But we knew there was no way. 'Cause when you're going down the North Atlantic, man, it's over.
What do you say?
It's over.
Mistakes were made.
And we're out. All right. We're still
Hey.
live. So,
Excellent.
we're talking about the creeping crotch rat.
That's right.
That was fun. Did you have fun, Doc?
I did.
I
Awesome.
had fun.
Time flew. You're right.
It did. I knew it would go fast, and you were worried you wouldn't have anything to talk about. We could have done another hour,
Right?
just asking you questions and letting you
The
answer.
dermatology. Yeah. Hey, Doc, Hold on.
Yeah.
Let me show
That's
you.
a
I
wart?
got this.
Is this a wart? Hey, when we're not
Are
on Rumble
venereal warts a
anymore,
problem?
when we're not on Rumble anymore, I have to tell you one of the most epic things that we pulled on one of his technicians.
Oh,
yeah.
that'll be
There's
good,
a
and we'll
few
do
of
it
them.
when we are off the air. So that
Yeah, off the air,
actually,
yeah.
Sticks is my quack, so we're gonna we'll find a way to mess with his folks.
All right.
So
Oh,
very
that's awesome.
cool. Yeah.
Excellent.
Repeat. I don't see where we are with the upload. For some reason,
It won't give us a number until I end the broadcast, and it's probably getting time to do that. I'm seeing now we got 14 still with us on Rumble.
hey, thanks for watching, guys.
Yeah,
Nice.
right.
That's fun.
This is huge. We've got 3 watching on YouTube, and I can't tell how many on Facebook. The number has disappeared. It escapes me.
Weird.
Oh well.
All right.
Oh well. This is what it is. Yeah, this is always so much fun. What a privilege it is to get to do this and to
Thank
meet all
you
these great
for
folks.
it was kind of a last minute. I'm glad you agreed to it, and thanks for doing it, Doc.
Indeed.
I loved it. I loved it. Very enjoyable. Thank you. Yeah, I go run into you guys all the time. I listen to every episode, man.
So you know what he told me, a repeat. He says, "You got to quit using that background because it cuts your ears off and it's freaking me out." You know,
That's right. I did say that.
I said, "Okay, Doc, I don't want you to freak out. I won't use the background anymore."
Oh, the video. Yeah. Oh, that's funny. Yeah. So, because I always use the virtual background because otherwise I'm looking at my daughter's overstuffed chair from when she was a 2-year-old, sitting in the back corner over my
All
shoulder.
that.
So, oh, man.
Yeah, you
All
got
right.
to interview a few more West Coasters.
Yeah, we'll get
We
that.
do.
got
We got to get some. We got to get some black sheep on
Yeah,
for real.
Hey, did you
absolutely.
talk to Punky? Did you talk to Punky about coming on?
I haven't. I need to reach out to him. Like I say, I sent the other day. I was behind a car that had the license plate Punky B, and so I texted it out to him. And that's I hadn't thought of him in a while. So I texted
We
that
got
to
to
him.
get. I want to get Ags on. Topper. He says he'll do it. And then I try to nail him down. He goes, you don't want to hear my stories.
I could probably get Cutter.
Cutter. Cutter. Yeah.
I could get him to come on probably.
Well,
So-
put a little peer pressure on him, Doc. Give him a little
There you
peer
go.
pressure. All he needs is a
Yeah,
little peer
he
pressure.
was my roommate in Okinawa, man.
There you go.
Put a little peer pressure from his old roommate. Say, hey, man, I did it. What's wrong with you?
Exactly.
Why can't
Yeah.
you do it?
It can only go up from there.
That's right.
Exactly. So, all
right.
right.
Let's
I think
do
it's
this
time to end this thing. I'm going to need you guys to stay with me until everything's uploaded. But we're going to say goodnight to everybody on Rumble and YouTube and Facebook. Thank you for joining us. We are humbled that you're listening.
Really, it's awesome, man.
Yeah, what a blessing. All right.
Thanks for
So
joining us.
good night. God bless. Stay safe. Check 6.